Yes, guys, welcome to the Gianni Battici YouTube show. Hope you are all well. We are recording live on Wednesday evening. I am joined by two very good friends of mine and also FPL enthusiasts from the world of, well, FPL Chai, but also from the world of snooker, Neil Robertson. Neil, welcome to the show. You first. How are you and how long have you been prepping your FPL team for?
Yeah, I'm very good, thank you. Just getting ready for going to China tomorrow night. And
Oh, wow.
yes, I've been really busy actually playing a few of the qualifiers that lead up to the events in Saudi and China and stuff. So been relying on you guys to keep me up to date with all the FPL stuff. But yeah, I think I've sort of settled on a pretty good team that I'm pretty happy with. Might make some, a couple of tweaks here and there before I fly out tomorrow. But yeah, I'm very excited for the new season.
Nice one. And when you say us guys keeping up to date, you are in regular contact with both me and Chai, which is why I was so keen to have you guys on together. Chai, you've given Neil some tips in the past, and obviously
I swayed him wrongly. Yeah,
you were made famous for going no Harden last season as well. Are you sticking with that? You think this season?
Yeah, it's looking likely. I suppose I've made loads of drafts myself, and I keep changing my team every day. But I think I've come to the point where I'm very happy with my draft now.
Okay. Guys, as we're recording this, and hello to everyone in the chat, a few of you are mentioning it.
Bob broke his leg.
Yeah, Bob broke his leg. That's not confirmed, I should just add, but there are a lot of rumors doing the rounds that Oscar Bobb could have a suspected broken leg. However, FPL Twitter has been there before and been wrong. Until we see anything from a blue tick journo or we see anything from the club, we do not know, but it is still worth the speculation. It's worth the speculation purely because so many of us have got him in our FPL teams. Chai, what's your immediate thought there if he's out? Obviously, he's in my team, your team, and Neil's team. Where would you go?
Yeah, it's been fairly immediate. We were just talking there, and I'm actually quite unsure whether I just drop him down to a 4.5 that will just be sticking on the bench, or to put him to someone like a Rodgers, who looks like he's going to get consistent minutes this season. But I haven't thought about it too much, and I think I'll probably just downgrade to a 4.5.
Yeah, okay. Neil, any thoughts for you? I mean, 4.5 bracket, there's no one of note. Like you can have a defensive midfielder like Harry Winks, or if you spend 5.5, you can have Emil Smith-Rowe, Kamada at Palace. But 5 million, it was kind of Oscar Bobb, or I mean, there's Rodgers at Aston Villa. Some like the look of. He's been playing almost as a second striker pre-season, but he's just a kid. Minutes could be a risk moving forward. Would you go down to bench fodder, maybe 4.5, and then upgrade somewhere else?
I mean, I thought he was just amazing value at 5 million, just someone to have there either way, whether or not he was going to sort of slot into a really good fixture and then you bench maybe a third forward. So yeah, it's like you either go for like a Smith-Rowe or a Rodgers, or you then downgrade and you just completely sort of bank on playing three forwards every week. So yeah, that's certainly going to throw a spanner in the works because I was quite happy with my team the way it was. And I think Bob sort of found his way into a lot of teams. So yeah, it's going to be interesting, because that 0.5 million makes a massive difference in how your team looks. So.
Yeah, it really does. Like it's that knock-on effect. Dylan, would you be tempted to look at a 5.5 and then skimp 5.5 off someone else? Like, and who would you skimp that off? Like, I've got Anthony Gordon. I could go Gordon to Eze and then Bob to Minte or something.
Yeah, my team is, I need every cent I can get from it. So I think I'll either be downgrading maybe a premium defender down to a 4.5 and use that 0.5 to upgrade someone else, or I'll just be leaving them for a 4.5 and upgrading a striker.
Okay, great. Well, let's have a look at some YouTubers' teams. Hello to everyone in the chat. Thank you all so much for joining. Yeah, Danny B says, what about Ahmad, the Man United winger, who we don't know if he's going to start. Loads of love for Neil in the chat as well. For those that were wondering, yes, this is not only, you all know Neil from him being a pro snooker player, but actually he's an FPL enthusiast and has been for some time as well. To the point,
they've done me dirty here, haven't they?
I love that FPL saw that Neil had a team, which I think was triggered by me posting on Twitter that Neil was coming on my channel tonight, and then straight away they were like, "Oh, Neil's coming! Neil, they're using you to sell the game here."
Where's my kickbacks?
I know. And they posted your team, which we'll look at in more detail later on. But let's kick off with some YouTubers' teams, and we will come back to that Bob news later because I have a feeling by the end of the show we'll probably have a little bit more, because what usually happens with these rumors is they might start from an ITK account, which is what we've seen, but then journalists, if it's true, will have something credible. So let's wait and see on Bobb and come back to that. The sources are pretty grey at the moment. There's some Man City leakers and ITKs who have been right with stuff in the past, but nothing official yet. So let's call the Bobb chat, which is going to be so difficult because we've all got him, and look at some FPL drafts. Well, let's start with YouTubers' biggest name. Guys, we want ratings out of 10. Give us anywhere between a 1 and a 10. All these guys know that they're on and they don't mind a little bit of banter. Andy's gone. I've not looked at any of these teams in advance, by the way. This is me reacting live to them. Andy's gone big at the back. It's Trent, it's Porro, it's Gabriel. Dylan, you've got a big at the back draft. And then as you look at the midfield, it's good and it's a good front three. There's no Spurs attack. There's no Solanke or Son. And there is Garnacho in there. Neil, what's your take on someone like a Garnacho? He's, I think, 6.5 million, and he's obviously a big goal threat for Man United.
Yeah, he came on a lot last year. I had him in my team for a little period there when he was, he was really good value, and he was pretty good for the odd sort of, 2 returns here and there in a certain game week. I like Andy's team a lot. I've been sort of back and forth on João Pedro and Solanke a lot. I think that, if you go João Pedro, then it really sort of gives you a chance to get like one of those premium midfielders like a Saka or Palmer or Son. So, I like Andy's team. The Porro one is interesting. I found Porro really strange last year. It's like you could never keep a clean sheet, and it seemed to drive everyone mad. But I don't know. I've seen a lot of people go for Porro. I'm pretty keen for a Newcastle defender. Still waiting to see, obviously with Trippier, see if he's going to actually sort of be sold or not, and then Livramento becomes amazing value. But Andy's great team. So what we've got to give this a rating out of 10, do we?
Yeah, give it a number, and then when we get through them all, we'll then go to our favourites.
Yeah, I'd say it's give it like a 8.5 out of 10.
Nice, there we go. 8.5. Dylan, what would you give it, and what's your thoughts on Porro? Because you're a Spurs fan, and do you have Porro?
Yeah, I've got Porro. Yeah,
of course you do.
What a surprise. No, I know Andy gets a lot of criticism because he likes to put United players in his team, but I actually quite like to see him, and I'd give it a solid 8 as well. Garnacho I have no issue with, to be honest, especially if you're a bit more optimistic about how United are going to be this season. We know they have been great in recent time, but you do expect him to still score a few goals, and we know how good Garnacho can be on his day. But yeah, in general, I would say it's quite good. You have Gabriel, who I've not actually seen that much, but I do really like him. And then Trent, Porro. I actually really like Porro. I know I've spoken about it for quite a while, and people are probably wanting me to shut up at this point, but I do think he does get into really good positions. He had the highest amount of shots in the season, or for a defender last season. Quite a good team.
Yeah, I like it too. I wonder if it's a little bit too big at the back. And I do think a Newcastle defender at 4.5 can be amazing value. Remember the time, not last season, the season before that, Eddie Howe's Newcastle was like the best defence in the league for a long time. I think they can return to that. And look, you can't criticise it.
No Europe this year either.
Yeah,
Newcastle. So they're not going to get the injuries, and they seem to get really run down with injuries last year. So, and Pope's back in goal too.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Bravcom in goal wasn't the same, and they were stretched because of the European involvement. I mean, you mentioned Andy gets stick for having United players in his team, Chai, and if you can't have players from your own team in your FPL team, then why even play this game?
You know what I mean? I like when people put their own twist on things, and he's blocking at the noise. He's kind of going what he thinks, and I respect that.
Yeah, exactly. Me and Neil have had Chelsea players in our teams for our sins.
Lord, last year.
You were so early on in Kunku, weren't you, last year?
Yeah, then he got injured. Then I had to swap him out. And then, oh, my goodness. It started off a chain reaction of some disaster.
Yeah, we've both had Jackson too much in our teams as well.
Yeah, Jackson as well. Just hung on and hung on. The problem is, as Chelsea fans, we don't just see the match of the day little highlights package. We saw the 5 and 6 chances he was missing every game and thinking, well, surely next week he'll put them away. And it just never happened. He sort of come good towards the end of the season, but I'm going to be very careful with selecting players from my own team this year.
Yeah, me too. Okay, Chai, give us a number on a 10 out of 10 for Andy.
I would say 8.
Nice. I'm going to go for a 7, but I'm going to be consistently harsh.
Ooh, that is brutal.
Yeah, I'm going to be hard. I'm going to be.
Wow.
I'm going to be on average the harshest here, just because I've made a thumbnail where I'm really harsh on a couple, and therefore if I'm less harsh on the others, there's less of a gap. So Andy, I think it's a good team, but my very good is still a 7. Let's move on. I think a few of you in the chat were like 7.5s and 8s. I thought FPL Mackham, I think, was a 7.5. British 87 a 7. Let's have a look at
Maybe
Raptor's team.
nice.
Yeah, well, Raptors team's awesome because it's a real talking point because there's no Haaland in it. And I think he said no Haaland all preseason. I don't know if, I think he's probably not 100% committed to that. And you never know, he could change his mind. But no Haaland makes it interesting. But that does, for me, drop the rating. Now, look, the team looks amazing with no Haaland, as does Chai's. No Haaland teams do look great because you've got so much more money. But I just think with captaincy being so important in FPL and knowing Haaland owners will probably go to him 2 or 3 of the first 5 game weeks, I think it's a real risky play. But fair play for those that will punt without. Chai, you've been there, done it, and it's worked for you. You got to world number 2 without Haaland halfway through a season. You must really like this team.
Yeah, so I know Ross. He wildcarded in game week 8 last year, and he actually went with no Haaland. He was one of the first content creators to do it, I think. Nice. And now this season, seeing this again, I'm very surprised. And I actually saw this morning, this video, and I couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, this is almost my team. So I'm very, very high on this team. I think it's as good as it gets with no Haaland drafts.
Yeah,
and I actually tinkered. Yeah. I tinkered with having both Salah and Jota. I did really like that. I'm just unsure on how, like, as the game weeks go on, how Neil Jota is going to be.
Andrew's given him an 8.5 just for having the bottle to do it. So I completely get that. Let's wait and see if he does go through, though. It should be mentioned, all these drafts are not set in stone. Every single one of these YouTubers, I'm pretty sure, will be doing a deadline stream. And with deadline streams come transfers, because that's a great way of, keeping engagement and probably just because they're going to change their mind. But most of them will probably be 95% locked in, and I'm sure Raptor's one of those. Neil, your take on this team, and how essential is Haaland for you?
I think with how good he was looking pre-season, like fitness-wise and everything, like he looked in just unbelievable shape. No hangover from the Euros or any other international competition. I think says a lot, really. And yeah, I think he's going to be a bit more involved as well in the first couple of weeks, because we don't know about with De Bruyne and Foden as well. So I think a lot more could be sort of maybe going through him. It takes a brave man to pick Haaland, but he's so expensive, and you can see how much he's been able to diversify his funds here, like, having Salah and Saka in the same team with Jota and Solanke, Isak, and the defense is a monster, right? Like, look at his defense; it's incredible. So, yeah, I think he's being very brave with his choice, but yeah, I really like it. I think considering as a non-Haaland draft, I think it's probably about a 9 out of 10, really, for a non-Haaland draft, that is.
Yeah, I can't fault that.
Overall, sort of, we'll have to wait and see, because Chelsea's defense has been really, really poor in pre-season, and Haaland could really feast on us there. So I'm not too sure how that will go. And do they have Ipswich at home second game week?
That's right. That's why there's the need.
That could be one of those absolute giga hauls where he scores 3 or 4. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm with you. As a no Haaland draft, I think it's like a 9, right up there. But because I'm so hot on Haaland, and I would probably have Son over Saka, but that's just, we'll talk about that later, because that's something I know separate is a discussion point for all of us. But because of the YouTube clickbaity nature of it, and because Raptor told me I can go to town on it, and because I think Haaland is so key, I've gone 3 out of 10.
Oh my God, what?
I think that's what I put in the thumb. Let me just check.
Oh dear Lord.
Let me just check.
I saw that thumbnail. I was like, oh, he's clickbaiting us, like, and you're actually pulling through. That's crazy.
Honestly, I've got I didn't actually double check with my editor who does my thumbs, but I think I think she put 3, which seems really harsh.
Going off what you said, in my opinion, like, as far as Haaland drafts go, I think this might be a 10, but in the general terms of things, I'd say 9.5. Yeah. It's really, really good.
Do you know what really cost me? I saw Raptors draft like 5-6 days ago, and then I made the thumbnail. And then this morning he uploaded another video. So this team I wasn't actually rating with the 3. It was the one from like a week ago as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel bad there. But look, the non-Haaland teams, fair play. I back the minerals, so I really hope he goes through with it as well.
The only thing is Guardiola, right? I don't know. Like, I'd love to have him in, but you don't know what Pep's going to do this year. He seems to change someone who's absolutely nailed to be in a good position, and then he doesn't.
Yeah,
I don't know. You know,
it's in the Community Shield. He formed a back 3 with the ball because Oscar Bobb. Rico Lewis was playing right back, which meant when Rico Lewis plays right back, he inverts into midfield. So it's like a midfield 2 in front of the 3, which meant Guardiola barely crossed the halfway line.
Yeah.
And I'm like, we want the Guardiola from last season.
Yeah, I'm not too sure he's going to be as high as towards the end of last year. You know, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. The Oscar Bobb news as well probably could impact which side Pep wants to sort of create the width from. Yeah,
it's a great point. That Oscar Bobb news could mean a lot of differences and changes. Like, could we that force Foden out wide? Could Doku become an option because Doku plays more minutes on the right and when Grealish when fit on the left? Savinho's the kid there that bought in for cover on the right, but I think it's too early for him.
Which slot did he get in FPL?
I think he's probably a 5 million mid as well. Dylan, do you know what he came in at?
Would you say Savinho?
Savinho, yeah, I guess he's the same as Bob, is he?
I think he's way more expensive, I'm pretty sure.
Is he?
I think so, yeah. Let me check.
We'll have a look. I feel like he should be the same as Bob. Although, look, Bob's clearly too cheap. Like, 6.5 million mid, says Nixie. Interesting. Way more. God, Bob was such a steal. I'm going to be gutted if he's injured.
Yeah, there don't appear to be too many steals this year, like, you know, the Palmers and stuff like that.
Yeah, next season's Palmer's the one we all want to find, isn't it? Great, let's move on from Raps then. Guys, there's 400 of you watching, which is awesome. If you fancy hitting those buttons, that would be amazing. Do click like, but also subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I would love to get those subs up ahead of Game Week 1. And if you're watching on Catch Up, drop a comment as well. We're reading every comment in the chat as well, so thank you, guys. We'll continue to shout some of you out in the chat. So let's move on to Holly is actually in the chat right now, and we are revealing her team. Holly, I had to cut your face off this picture because it was such a wide angle, and I was trying to get more of a square shape. So unfortunately, I had to cut your face off, but we all know this is Holly. And to be fair, it was really hard. Here we go. Holly's face is in for a second there. So yeah, Holly's team is very similar to mine. I like the look of this team because I like the shape of it. It's kind of, I mean, I guess this one's fairly big at the back, but that midfield dynamic and the Gordon Isak double up is something I'm very, very fond of.
Worked well last year, that big time.
Worked so well last year, yeah. I seem to remember you had Gordon quite a bit, did you, Neil?
I had Gordon quite a lot, yeah. And especially when Trippier was out, Gordon was on all the set pieces as well, and he got quite a lot of assists through, you know, corners and stuff like that. So yeah, I really like Gordon. You know, there was rumors of him going to Liverpool as well in the summer, right? Yeah. So that would have been amazing value at 7.5. But yeah, the combination with the two of them and you know, in the game, but also, in FPL and also in actual football terms, they work so well together. So it's going to be exciting to see how they get on.
Yeah. Dylan, does this team lack a Liverpool
No,
player,
I actually really like it. We're starting to see a lot of the same kind of keeper and back three. It's either Trent, Guardiola, and Porro, or Gabriel, an Arsenal defender, or a 4.5. But the structure is really, really good. The only question mark I kind of have is Smith Rowe, but that's why the likes of Nkunku's on the bench, and of course Bobb is now injured, so it definitely spices things up. But I wonder, will he just go straight to a Rodgers and then still start Smith Rowe and go Nkunku next week? So one mistake I made last year was definitely lacking on Gordon. I was very, very slow to move for him, and I actually never ended up getting him.
It's because you never went off Maddison.
Yeah, so I was held fate in Maddison.
He let me down too, Maddison. I got Mark Selby to ask him, look, tell him to score 2 goals for Neil. He was just put you in the team. And he blanked for 3 weeks straight. And Chai's like, no, keep him in, he'll come good.
Had total fate, man.
Oh, my dear.
I love that you're using your Leicester connections there. I guess Mark Selby's a big Leicester fan, is he?
Yeah, massive fan, yeah.
Yeah, okay, nice. Yeah, there we go. Maddison, I mean, interesting start to the season because no one's talking about James Maddison because he's not had a really good preseason, but Son and Solanke are high on everyone's wish list. Could Maddison be a sort of left field pick, Chai, or do you
How
just
much
not
is he?
fancy him?
It's
He's
definitely
7?
left field.
I think he's 7 or
Um,
7.5. He's cheap. He's
I
relatively
think it's
cheap.
7.5.
You
But
know, Son is 10.
especially
Yeah.
with how good Kulusevski has been, I would stay away from Maddison. Especially if Solanke's going to start the first week, it will be either Maddison or Kulusevski in the 10 spot, in my opinion. Kulusevski has had an amazing preseason and he's shown a lot to start, so he's no reason why he shouldn't start. So it'll be interesting to see who starts that game.
Yeah, good point. Guys, the Oscar Bobb news, by the way, we will be reacting to any confirmed news. Loads in the chat letting us know. You've all seen the same tweets we've seen, but we haven't seen anything, as far as I'm aware, from a kind of journalist, other than we've just seen a couple of ITK accounts. They have been wrong before, ITKs, and it is still rumoured. So as soon as we get anything up to date, we'll bring it, because I have a feeling we'll probably hear something this evening or tomorrow morning if it's true.
Jeez, broken leg. What's that? Has that happened
honestly.
in training or something? Like, how does a broken leg happen in training?
Yeah, I know. Especially so close to the season, you'd think it'd be fairly light after, but yeah. That was shocking news for the young lad. Like, he's just had the preseason of his life. He had 6 goal involvements in, I think, 5 preseason games.
Yeah, he's looked
brilliant
great
in the Community Shield. There's a reason we all put him in our team. It was guaranteed to start that game week 1. There we go. Thank you to everyone joining in the chat, by the way. Loads of new faces because Neil and Chai are with me today. The FPL Wire are with us as well. Oh, absolutely gutted. I couldn't rate FPL Wire's teams because they didn't go live this afternoon till, I don't know, 2 o'clock. And I did all these screen grabs this morning and I knew they'd be putting their teams on, and they did. Do check the Wire guys out, everyone. And make sure you're checking FPL Chai out as well if you fancy being generous with your subscribes to other channels. FPL Chai and the Wire, 2 must-haves for your FPL diaries. And also, of course, if you're not already, loads of you will think you are, but you're actually not subscribed to me. About 40% watching right now aren't subscribed, so do hit those buttons. FPL Mate, again, happy to be slated on this one. Sorry, we didn't give Holly a rating. I put 8 in my thumbnail because I couldn't give everyone a 2 and a 3.
So give her a good rating.
I know. I gave my FPL wife got an 8 out of 10. What do you guys reckon? Where will you go here? I'll come to you first, Neil.
I mean, it should be minus points for having my boy Nkunku on the bench, really. But he'll just slot in for Bobb, right? Now that his leg's broken.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, it looks really good. It seems like there's like a real core of 6 or 7 players in everyone's team, and for very good reason. Yeah, I really like it. I think it's. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's like similar to Andy's, really. I'll give this one an 8 out of 10.
Yeah, nice. Chai?
Yeah, I'll say 8 as well. It's fair.
There we go. Across the board, loads in the chat saying an 8 as well. A couple of 7s in there as well. Maybe some would think spending big at the back, but still no Trent. Can you reallocate the funds to get Trent? Is Trent worth an extra $1 million on Gvardiol Gabriel? I would argue he is, but yeah. Let's see. Let's see how we get on with everyone else. FPL Mate. FPL Mate does have Trent, and he has a guy that I feel like many first-time drafters 4 weeks ago had in Mikolenko. I've recently sold Mikolenko, but how do we feel about Mikolenko? Because he's I'll come to you, Neil. Sean Dyche defenders do keep clean sheets.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, absolutely. And, you'd think with, stabilizing and not having the points deductions that they had last year, they'd be even more solid this year. So yeah, I think he's an amazing choice. He's been in and out of my team pretty much daily. I think that probably the only reason he isn't is because that I just wanted to go against what a lot of other people were doing. So, but yeah, no, he's a great pick. I don't think he'll ever sort of like let you down. And Sean Dyche's teams are, they're so solid at the back. So no, he's a great choice out of the 4.5s for sure.
Here we go. Nigel the Crab has gifted 5 memberships. Thank you so much, mate. I remember, Neil, you got gifted a membership not long back. I think. I don't know if you were able to use it.
Did I?
It was pre. It was a deadline stream. I think the end of last season. But I think you I think you had left just a minute before you got gifted one, and they randomly allocated to the chats. Your name was still in the chat, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Neil's a member. But I did. Yeah, I assumed you didn't know. And to be fair, we were then hitting pre-season. But good to see Nigel being so generous. Thank you, mate. Toby Margetts, one of my best mates, is in the chat as well. That's nice. Tobes is just turning it on for a couple of days before FPL to join making a team and getting into it. Yeah, which so many do. I looked on the website today. I think it's around 5 million, 6 million signups. They'll get to 10 million by Friday, which is crazy for 48 hours. Yeah, and in the first 24 hours of the game launching, they reached 1 million, which was a record. So yeah, could see big. Yeah, could see big numbers. FPL Mate's team for you, Dylan. Are you liking the shape of this? I mean, Chris Wood is
yeah, this is quite interesting. I've not seen one like this because I know Diogo Jota is a recent thing, but it's really nice. I mean, the only thing I'm unsure about is the bench. The bench kind of stinks, and I don't know how nailed Chris Wood is with. He's getting old now. I think he's 32, and GW1 he's coming up and he's fit. So other than that, I do really like it.
Yeah, exactly. Nigel says, in exchange for his memberships, can we hit 100 likes? And John has also gifted memberships. You guys are too generous. Thank you so much, John, for doing that as well. Sammy's been a member for 7 months. He's in the Ultras chat with me and Dylan. He says, top class this, lads. Big fan of you, Neil, on the snooker table. Favorite Q action is yours. So he's going to come to Fest on Friday, and he would love you to come as well. But you're in China playing
indeed
snooker. I guess you spend a lot of time in China, do you?
Yeah, we're going out there 4 or 5 times this season. So yeah, this is like the first one of the season in China. And then we've got a few other trips before the end of the calendar year, and then we may have one more in March or something like that. So last year was the first year we went back out to China post COVID. So it's very exciting and always great out there because the fans are absolutely amazing. We get treated like absolute superstars there, so it's always exciting and good place to go.
Yeah, exactly. I bet. Yeah, that's pretty cool. And Saudi as well. You'll be playing in Saudi this
yeah,
season,
that's the first ranking event ever in Saudi. So they're jumping on board. They're adding snooker to their list of sports that they're really pushing. And so snooker's come on board with that, and we go out there sometime in September.
Wow, big news! If Holly says it, it's legit from Fabrizio.
Leg fracture.
Damn.
Man, I was so high on Bobb as well.
Damn. I've just lit my editor all afternoon has been editing my team selection video, which is dropping at 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. I'm going to have to redo it. She's going to be doing an all-nighter, honestly. Faceless London sent a super chat. He says, Neil, bring back the afro, please.
No. Oh, well, unless there's another COVID or lockdown where I can't get a haircut for 9 months, then no, I'm going to keep getting my haircut, mate.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Thank you so much, Faceless, for the comment. Anyway, Bob hype train has crashed. Yeah, it looks like it. Does look like it. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So Fabrizio Romano, I'm just checking that myself. But if Holly's told me, I know it's not a Fabrizio fake account. What's funny is we were waiting for a journalist or a club to tweet it. We wanted something legit, and of course it was Fab Romano, not just the home of transfers, but he's there straight away. And it was actually backed up by I think the Northern football reporter for the Daily Mail, who ironically Holly is now writing for with FPL News. Out for several months as Man City sources do confirm. Wow. Yeah. That's when they say, okay. It's poor bloke. We've got to think about what we do there. Right. Let's move on then, shall we? Oh, we've got to give Mate a rating. Yeah. I don't know if he's going to stick with Wood. And I don't know if he's going to stick with Mikolenko. Again, this was from a few days ago, this draft.
I think if you're going for like a cheaper option and not a Solanke, then I think that João Pedro is the best.
I was just about to say.
Wood is like, because he's not on pens, right? I think Gibbs White is on pens for Forest, isn't he?
Yeah.
Or, it's not absolutely nailed. So, yeah, like you say, Chris Wood getting on a bit as well. And yeah, I think João Pedro is a better pick in terms of that sort of price range. And, you can use the 0.5 somewhere else. I think I really like it, but I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah. Okay. Chai?
I would also give it a 7.5. I wonder, is just like you said, is there an opportunity to grab some money and maybe upgrade Wood even up to a Solanke? It's probably a bit of a stretch, but you have 0.5 on the bench. I know Anderson is already thin, but you could also grab, like you said, from Wood. So I don't know. Maybe I think it will be a 7.5 for me also.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? I can't even give my honest rating. I've got to check what I did in my clickbait thumbnail. I think I went. I did Raptor and Mate as the two low ones at like 3 and 4. I can't remember what order. It was a load of nonsense. It was a load of nonsense for the thumbnail. Yeah. Harsh. But do you know what? Mate's going to have a banging team, I'm sure. And a bit like Raptor, I'm sure he'll do something a little bit different as well. And he won't be scared to, which is great. Yelena has signed up to be a member. Thank you so much, Yelena. Love that. Love that. Guys, do go check out Yelena's channel. Her and Az stream on Sundays, which is loads of fun to watch. Loads of fun. All right, let's move on from FPL Mate. Guys, you get your numbers in the chat. I want to call it, see what the average is. Nigel's just upgraded to join the WhatsApp chat. So thank you, Nigel. You will be one of our Ultras members and in the WhatsApp chat with me and Chai, which is awesome. So I will add you and message you on social to get your number tonight. Once I've re-recorded my team selection video. Awesome. Neil, I'd love to offer you an invite into our chat, but I can't be giving out a bloody famous person's mobile number, so we've got to be careful there.
It's not easy to work out if you can guess the first sort of like the first five random numbers. But,
yeah, okay. Well, I've just seen your email address tonight, so I know the 3 digits that are going to be in there with your 1-4s, and I won't say the third. Right, let's move on. We've got FPL Harry. FPL Harry,
another Chelsea fan.
Yes,
He unfollowed me on X last year.
What?
He started following me, both Chelsea fans, and I don't know. I think I went on a few too many Chelsea rants. I think when Potter was in, it was I was posting a lot of negative stuff, and because I kind of have some inside info of what's going on.
Yeah, you do. You're mates with some of the former players. I know you are.
He probably thought, "Oh, look, this guy is toxic." So I don't know. Maybe that's why he unfollowed me, or maybe I let him down in a snooker bet or something. I don't know. But yeah, anyway,
this is your moment, mate. Rate and slate.
Harry's amazing. I'm really happy that he can sort of like commit to doing it like full time. I think last year is when he sort of
quit his job, didn't he?
Yeah, no, he's a fantastic content creator and always picks really good teams. And I think his overall rank in the last 3 years has been like crazy, hasn't it?
Yeah,
it was last year 5K, but I think was it the previous year he was top sort of 500 or something, or maybe even higher. So yeah, he's always very sensible with his choices. He doesn't really sort of pick anything too sort of crazy out there. But yeah, and looking at this, so Aina, I've seen him bob up a few times.
Former Chelsea kid, Aina. He was in our academy.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was with us for a long time, and we had high hopes of him. But I guess he was competing for, I think Livramento was actually still technically a Chelsea player. May have been on loan at Southampton when Aina was sort of seen as maybe the 4th best right back in line. So I think we ended up sort of like getting rid of him, but. Yeah, this is a great. Well, it's a top team. This one, isn't it? Look at it. The bench is super strong as well. Actually, if you look at the bench, really, really good team. This is. He's playing Barco.
Yeah, Barco's in his 11. I mean, he does have Gvardiol on the bench to play Chelsea, so Barco's not his 3rd defender usually. But Barco away at Everton, I actually do fancy for a clean sheet. Everton struggle to score, and I think this new look Brighton team are going to keep a ton of clean sheets. So I don't hate that.
He's been on a lot of set pieces, hasn't he, Barco, so far?
Yeah, he has. He was on corners in the game I watched. I mean, Henderson in goal is a common theme. Barco's a common theme usually on the bench. Harry's got him in his 11. We've not spoken about Eze, but with the Bobb injury, genuinely,
they have been linked. Man City's plans,
yeah, like they've been linked massively with Eze already. Alvarez leaving frees up a spot in the squad and also maybe some spending. But you take Bobb out, and I know Eze doesn't play on the right, but remember, Man City attackers are all very versatile. This could mean Foden plays out on the right a ton now, and it means Eze can play central, or it means even Doku could move to the right and Eze plays on the left. Like, I do think the rumours now will increase, for sure. What do you make of it, Chai?
Yeah, no, I really, really like it. That bench is absolutely lovely, and Fulham have really, really good fixtures. I think game week 3 onwards. It is interesting what you said about Barco and Guardiola. I know he's fairly high on Barco because that first fixture is realistically who you want, like why you want him.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I see Chelsea scoring against City. Neil, what do you think? Maybe you have a different take.
If who? Sorry.
On Chelsea scoring against City.
I think we'll score a lot of goals this year. So defensively, I think is going to be the big problem. I think the green light's been given for Chelsea to actually go ahead and get Osimhen as well from Napoli. So I mean, and you look at the players we've got offensively already. I think we are going to score a lot of goals. Just defense is the problem. So. Yeah, I mean that would be the reason why I wouldn't start Guardiola against Chelsea as well, because I think it's going to be a bit more of a chaotic game than maybe what people think. I think it could be quite a high-scoring game, like a 4-2 sort of thing. I'd fancy City to win, but we could cause a bit of a surprise. But yeah, I can see why you'd put Guardiola on the bench for the first game, especially not knowing exactly what his role is going to be in the team as well. So yeah, you have to wait and see on that one, I guess. But yeah, if he starts with that back three, then fair play.
As in the chat, by the way, and CH points out he is really hot on Barco, as is a big Brighton fan. He's watched him all pre-season. He's had the minutes pre-season. I think first choice left back for sure. They are signing a left back who has played in a ton of other positions. He's proper versatile and he's actually right-footed. He played equal amounts almost last season at right back, and I think that's where he'll play for Brighton. So I don't know the rumours of that signing really ruin your thoughts there on Barco. I think he's still the best 4.0 option in the game. In terms of numbers, loads giving... Oh, no, you haven't been voting on Harry. Do get your number in. I'm going to go for a... Oh, I like the Ina pick as well, I'm going to go for an 8.
An 8? Geez, I'd hate to see the team that you rate a 10.
Yeah.
I rate my own team only an 8.5. Chai, I'll come to you next.
Solid 9, but easily a 9.5.
Yeah, I'll give it a 9. I'm taking off 0.5 because he unfollowed me on X. I'm only kidding.
Let's move on. I love that. He must be proper tight with his follows. Maybe he just doesn't want his timeline cluttered. But yeah, Neil, you're an absolute follow for me, mate. Locked in on a season-long deal. Let's move to Focal next. This is his team, which I think he actually uploaded like lunchtime. So
somebody tags me all the time on X but doesn't follow me.
Yeah, do you know what? I've known Focal for years, right? Well, 2 years. He only followed me about 2 weeks ago for the first time ever. Genuinely. Chai, you're staying at his house on Friday night. Does he follow you?
No,
say no.
But I don't mind. No, I respect it though. I respect it. Like,
does he genuinely not follow you?
No, but it doesn't matter. Like, it is what it is.
Sorry, you're staying at his house.
Just while he's making a tea, just hit the follow button. Just hit the follow button while he's making.
No, but to be fair, like from a, let's just say it was a business standpoint, and you were running an FPL account and you're on Twitter, you want to make sure that only like crucial information comes. Like, I can see it from that standpoint if that's why it is.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
that's definitely
you know what I mean. Because I know from my own, like, that's why I kind of like when I'm on Twitter and I'm on stream, some stuff that you don't want coming up often comes up. Yeah, X is a friendly place.
Yeah, I'm just going through his he follows 82 people, and yeah, I'm delighted that I'm on there. Well, I thought I was. I don't know if I'm on there anymore. I was on there 2 weeks ago. Oh my god, that's hilarious. No, I am. I'm his most recent follow, bar FPL Jack, because it's in order. So yeah, he's only following. So he follows Stormzy. And yeah,
which one? His FPL account?
Yeah, the FPL Stormzy, I think. Big Mike,
Stormzy does.
Yeah, Big Mike. So yeah, okay, Dylan. I'm sure that'll change next week, but it doesn't seem like you're too bothered. But I think it's hilarious. Love Focal, and I'm going to send him this clip because it's hilarious. Shout out Oscar for his team as well, because the team is good. Kwanzaa hasn't featured much in these drafts. Kwanzaa's a lock for me. And he's in Focal's team. What's your take there, Neil, with double Liverpool defence as well? I think they're going to keep more clean sheets under Slot. A little bit more control, a little bit more possession.
Yeah, much more controlled their play style this year. It's not going to be sort of like the crash, bang, wallop sort of back and forth style. that Klopp had. So yeah, I mean, Danny Murphy was talking earlier on TalkSport, actually saying Quansah could be like sort of England's next biggest centre back in a few years' time. Could be like the number one. So and he was very impressive when he played. When he came on last year a fair bit, didn't he? Last year, Quansah did.
Yeah, towards the end of the season, he got quite a few games because he made the England provisional squad and then didn't make the Euros, but he made like the training camp. And I don't think he'd even made his debut when he got that call up.
Yeah,
so it's definitely. I think he must have had a amazing review from Van Dijk, because I reckon Van Dijk has quite a lot of control in that team, and he would have been asked by the manager, "Do you want to play next to Quansah or Konate?" And if Quansah's getting the nod over Konate, Van Dijk might have something to do with it.
Yeah, very well. Yeah, I mean, I think the whole back forward, right? They'll definitely sort of have their preference, even though Konate's never really kind of like let the team down as such. But Quansah, I think for 4.5, I think he's like an absolute must-have. Really, I think. Looking at it, Bruno Fernandes as well. Yeah, someone I've thought about, but I'm just not so sure. Because United, they're going to play like they did last year. Remember last year how we all had Bruno Fernandes and Rashford I did anyway, for like 6 or 7 game weeks. I just couldn't get them out because they were so expensive as well. So, but overall, the team, he's got some different picks in. He's got Quansah as well. I'm not too sure how much value he I guess he's a solid defender for 4.5, but. Yeah, overall the team is really good. Best defense, 23.
This is from last season. I took this off Scout members area. Liverpool ranked 3rd for goals conceded, expected goals conceded, and clean sheets. They were 4th. But this is under Jurgen Klopp, who was end-to-end rock and roll football, a lot of kind of one-on-one defending, which is why Konate was arguably the better pick then. If they're going to be a lot tighter at the back, these numbers will only get better. Liverpool are going to keep a ton of clean sheets, I think. And worth noting, Everton and Palace both top 5 defenses last season.
Yeah, look at that. Wow, Everton as well. Jeez.
It's Sean Dyche, isn't it? It's Sean Dyche teams. Every season they do well.
I think Liverpool are going to be right up there. Sort of, I think that Slot's got a really good mindset as well with the team, and they haven't rushed out and just bought people in through the transfer window just for the sake of it. He really likes the team, and he said he'll add if they really feels he can improve the side. So, it's interesting looking at that list, the top 5. You probably wouldn't have thought Palace would be in there, but I guess they did really well, especially under Glasner as well. So
interesting. Chai, what do you make of the best attack? Like in terms of familiar names, we expect City there at the top. Liverpool actually were ranked 1st for expected goals, and they were ranked 2nd for big chances and 3rd for goals in total. So we know Liverpool's attack was amazing. What really strikes me on this chart is that Newcastle had more big chances than any other team. They racked up more big chances. That massively goes to me like that's why everyone's got Isak captain this game week, right?
Yeah, 100%. And they're probably right to probably go for Isak. It's interesting what you said about Liverpool creating a lot of chances but not converting as many as they probably should. Darwin Núñez is probably a big reason for that. Another man that
mate. That's why he can't feature for me this year. It was driving me mad last year. Núñez post open goal miss. It was just like too much. He had to come out.
I'm still very, very high on Núñez though. Like in my opinion, he's everything you want in a striker except the finishing.
Except the best bit.
But that's a centimeter is hitting the post a few times and centimeter is hitting the
small
crossbar.
margins.
It's also a confidence thing. Like if he goes through a spell of games where he's scoring 4 games in a row, I mean, there's no reason why he can't maybe get 20 plus goals easily in that Liverpool game.
What are you doing? What are you doing? You're just you're fooling half of the chat here to put him in their team.
And to get those 20 goals, he'd need.
And he's not going to be on pens, by the way.
Starts, and I just can't see it because Jota exists.
Is a big killer.
Jota exists, and he offers something very different. I think Jota's the best finisher at the club.
He is.
Like probably better finisher even than Salah.
Jamie Carragher said as much as well.
Did he? Yeah. So it's tough. Like there is a world in which Darwin becomes this elite, world-class striker because if he can get that finishing right, like genuinely, he's got the rest, doesn't he? He's got everything. And when you watch him for Uruguay, he does turn it on. It does look good, but yeah.
But Slot may favour Gakpo as well, right?
True.
The Dutch connection there. So it's going to be a big season for Núñez. I think he's someone I'm waiting to see if he catches fire first before kind of putting him in. I think he's very, very risky to put in, and you don't know if he's starting or not, and also the chances that he just keeps missing. Right, it's, even in one of the preseason games, I think as well. Right? I don't know. I think someone put up, it was a very Darwin game or something.
Yeah. There's no Liverpool attack in this team, Chai. I mean, Trent covers it a bit, but there's no Jota. And again, this was uploaded only this afternoon, so I just think this is very close to Oscar's locked team. Does it miss a Jota, or do you think just because he feels like a transfer out waiting to happen, stick a Bruno in and just ride the wave there as a long-term hold? And you've got Bruno, and you're big on Bruno. Do you think I mean, he's a bit underrated, Bruno, at 8.5, isn't he?
100% underrated. But I would definitely want a piece of that Liverpool attack. But yeah, I suppose Bruno on penalties, can he match him? Probably. But he's another extra million, and that million goes a long way in a team like this.
Yeah, nice. Okay, let's give it some numbers. I'm going to go 7.5 because of the no Liverpool attack marks it down. But yeah, Smith Rowe in the 11 as well. I like that. Like, Smith Rowe is not an 8th forward here. He's a 7th forward. He's got Jebberson on his bench. So he's got a dead spot. He's got 4.5 forward dead spot, which we've not seen yet, which is interesting. It means he's going to have no selection headaches, but he's kind of relying on Smith Rowe to play every game.
But
which
Smith
maybe
Rowe
in fixtures is tough. I don't know.
I think didn't who's the Fulham manager's name? What's his name again?
Oh, Silver. He was quoted. He had his press conference today, didn't he?
Yeah, didn't he say that it will take Smith Rowe some time to get up to full fitness because he hasn't played much football in the last 2 years? So maybe he's just going to be someone who plays 60 minutes in the first few
early
weeks.
subs.
Yeah, who knows on that one? So that's one of the big reasons why I'm not going with Smith Rowe at the moment. As good a player he is and talented. Yeah, I'll give it I guess I'll give it like a, I don't know. I think the bench could be a bit sus. Yeah, I'll give it a 7. Give it a 7. That's what I'm going for.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 7.5. Only because I'm a bit higher on Bruno. But if you could fit a Liverpool attacker in there, I think it's very good. You have 5 penalty takers in there, which is I'm a big fan of.
Would you boost it to an 8 if he followed you?
No, change is not for me.
There we go. FPL Mackham's a 7.5. Trent's Essential says loving fancy football. Domes Dewsbury says Smith Rowe looks good in pre-season as well. He's only played twice and he scored 2 goals. I think he had a 45. I think he did get like a 70 or 80 in the second game. But yeah, we might see some early subs because clearly he hasn't played a ton of football. So yeah, okay, we've got. I think that's pretty much it. I think we got through them all the way. Do we have one more? Oh, we've got FPL tips. We'll keep this one fairly short and then we'll go to some more Oscar Bobb reaction. Bobb is in this team. Barco again starting. This is similar to, I guess, Harry's shape. Solanke. He hasn't featured much. Yeah. Haaland and Salah. Good point. That's the headline. It doesn't feel like there's a huge compromise in this team because he's got Trent still. He's got Jota still. He's got Isak still. I guess there's no Arsenal attacker. But that's the best Haaland Salah draft I think I've seen. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, Smith Rowe and Bobb, isn't it? It's quite too cheap mid starting and then without a bench either.
So yeah, Smith Rowe's is 6th attacker, Bobb's is 7th, and Winks' is 8th. So it's 3 proper cheapos there. But the fixtures are good for Fulham. To set and forget, I guess the Bobb injury might really ruin this team. I don't know. Chai?
Yeah, I quite like it. I've not seen anything like this before. I just wonder, like, when you're using your transfers down the line until your wildcard, how are you gonna bring anyone in? Like, you're kind of stuck unless you downgrade a Jota, and you can only go down underneath 7.5. Then you know what I mean. So unless you get rid of one of the big boys, it's very hard to use any of your transfers efficiently, I'd say. Yeah,
no, I hear that. Yeah, tough one to know what to do with Oscar Bobb in this team. Like, when Bobb's your 8th forward and your bench fodder, you go, oh, it's fine. I'll buy Harry Winks for 4.5 and upgrade someone else or bank the 0.5. But when you're relying on Bobb to be a starter, is there an out and out? Sammy says, what, a Rodgers in for Bobb? And that is a legit option. Like, Rodgers has had a bit of a breakthrough 6 months. He ended the season well for Villa. He's had a really good preseason. He is the standout 5 million option in the game away from Oscar Bobb. But I don't know if he justifies a straight swap. I think many will react to the Bobb news and maybe go, I'm going to find 0.5 extra and have a 5.5 like a Smith Rowe, or I'm going to downgrade to a 4.5, have an easy benching dilemma, not have a benching dilemma every weekend, just bench Harry Winks. And reinvest that 0.5 somewhere else, or maybe go into the season with 0.5 in the bank. I don't hate that either. Especially with price rises, we're often priced out of players we want that started in the same price band, but by game week 1 or 2, they're 5.1 million, and we can't sell our 5.0 for the same price. Neil, have you ever left money in the bank? And because I go into every season going leave 0.5 in the bank, and I never do.
I did that a lot last year, actually. I always found myself having plenty in the bank, but I think maybe a lot of managers did because there was just crazy value. It seemed like, all over the game. I think this year they've done really well with the price changes to make sure that, there aren't just some absolute auto locks in there, like that are very cheap. I guess with the Bobb news, then he's got no money in the bank. Where can he go from there? I think, it could be a situation like for me as well with the Bobb owners who also have Solanke to downgrade Solanke to João Pedro and then pick a higher quality mid.
Yeah, and Sky reporting 3 to 5 months with Oscar Bobb, and 3 months will be minimum. So absolutely shocking news for the young lad. Chai, your take on kind of the real budget look midfield?
Yeah, I would say
away from Salah and Jota.
It's a bit of a risky strategy because if suddenly Smith Rowe is lacking fitness and he's starting to get dropped in game week 2 and 3, and the same with Bobb now. I know at the time he didn't know he was injured, but let's just say in theory he did get the Ipswich game, but got dropped in game week 3. You'd assume this is like setting up for an early wildcard, maybe 4 or 6. And if that was in mind, I think it is really solid because even Barco, eventually he might be dropped also. So just a little mins risk, but it's fine other than that.
Yeah, no, I hear that. Nigel says, please hit the like button. Nigel, thank you, mate. And you did give 5 memberships earlier. So please do listen to Nigel, hit the buttons. And also, if you're watching for the first time and you don't actually realize you're not subscribed yet, do hit that subscribe button as well. That'd be amazing. The Super Cup is tonight. Yeah, I forgot about that. It's Atalanta versus Real Madrid, isn't it? I guess that kicks off in a couple of minutes. Scamacca, the the striker for Atalanta, he did his ACL in pre-season. So we're seeing these big injuries in pre-season. So heartbreaking.
That was the one good thing about Chelsea's pre-season. Remember last year where it was just a disaster, like in the US, with the pre-season, the injuries that we had, and that was the only good thing to come from a pre-season this year. I think was the fact that we didn't pick up any injuries.
Now you have 50 players.
Sorry, yeah. Well, there's going to be a lot of outgoings happening in the next couple of weeks. That's for sure.
Got to be.
Yeah,
there's got to be. What's your take on Chelsea, Neil? Like, I love the Neto signing. I know he's got a bad injury record, but I was delighted with that. That came out of nowhere. But some of our recruitment has been a little bit, it's been rogue.
Yeah, I'm more disappointed with the treatment of Chalobah and Gallagher. Really, I think that's been. I think that's just absolutely outrageous. Because I think Chalobah was one of our best defenders when he came back from injury last year. Because remember, he was out until about January, from the start of the season to January. And I thought he looked really good. And then, because of PSR reasons, we've got to sell him and get the pure profit. And, he's just training with the under-21s all pre-season, which I think is terrible. And, Gallagher's just flown back to London again from Atletico because the deal broke down, and Atletico, there's something in the deal, right, where we sell Gallagher, but then we must buy a player from Atletico as well. So, Gallagher is just training on his own, been training on his own in Spain, in a hotel, apparently. And then now he's flying back to London to train on his own with Lukaku and Chalobah. So, it's not good. Yeah, that's what they're doing. So, I like some of the signings. It's clear that we're going with the youth thing and try to sort of sell them for profit. I think Chukwuemeka is another one that Palace wants. Looks like we're probably going to sell him. So, I like the look of the team. I think the midfield and the forward position looks really strong. Just the defense in pre-season was so bad, right, that you'll have to wait and see, and then the goalkeeper situation as well. I don't know much about Jorgensen either. Sanchez gave me a heart attack every time he tried to pass the ball out the back last year. It was chaotic. So, we'll see. The Reece James injury is a shame, right? Because it's the hamstring again. Is this just going to keep reoccurring throughout the whole sort of season? So lucky we've got Gusto in that position, I guess.
Yeah, he's been inverting well pre-season. Sanchez scares me with the ball at his feet. I hope Jorgensen, the new keeper, is a really good goalkeeper with his feet, but I don't think he'll be number one at first. It's a really interesting project. Lavia, however, is fit. And I do think Lavia's addition to the Chelsea midfield Mate is going to make us so much better. Like, we never saw him last year. We signed him for big
No.
money from Southampton. He's got proper pedigree. Like, I think he's going to be a massive, massive baller. Chai, what do you make from afar of Chelsea's sort of transfers and shape and Maresca and expectations for the season?
Yeah, I suppose it's really, really interesting. Chelsea have always been kind of cutthroat with their players. We've seen with Abramovich, and nothing has changed since the new takeover, which I think is mad. There will be definitely a lot of outgoes. I mean, they don't have much choice. They can't start the season like that. But I just wonder, who are they going to cut out of the team? Because other than the three you already mentioned, like the team is still very, very, very big. But yeah, I suppose from an outsider view, if I was a Chelsea fan, I think you'd be hoping for top four, between 4 and 6 anyway. Probably fighting with Tottenham and Newcastle if we're being realistic. So if you're a Chelsea fan, I'd say you should be happy.
Gucci is watching. He's one of my channel members from the WhatsApp group, and he's in Australia. And I texted him this morning saying Neil's coming on today.
Damn it, I slept in.
I'm gonna even so. I think he set his alarm for 4 a.m. I think he's in Melbourne. So yeah, Gucci.
Same. That's where I'm from.
Oh, you Melbourne as well? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Gucci, let us know where you are. I'm pretty sure you're Melbourne. I know we've got Malachi in the chat who's from Perth as well. Both Liverpool fans. Are there loads of Liverpool? I've got two ultras, and they're both Liverpool fans. Two Aussies in my WhatsApp group. Yeah,
when Liverpool toured Australia a few years ago, there was 100,000 at the MCG, all singing, "You never walk alone" and all that. It was just, I wasn't there obviously because I live here, but the scenes were incredible. So Liverpool got a huge following all over the world, and Australia especially.
Yeah. How often do you get back to Australia now? Do you play much snooker there? Is there any tournaments there, or do you do any sort of events there?
I went back home for a few weeks over Christmas last year. That was the first time I went home for 4 years actually. So that was good. But usually I try to get back home once a year. It's pretty tough though with the scheduling of the calendar. So I usually fly sort of my family over here so they can spend the summer here during my off season. And that tends to work pretty well. So but snooker's it's a popular sport, but like it's not as like popular as what it is here, and especially in China as well.
Nice. He's in Melbourne. He's in Prahran.
It's pronounced Prahran.
Nice. Do you notice? You know it. Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
And he says he's woken up and he's gone, "Is Bob out?" Question mark. Yeah. This is like
that's the best part about living in Australia. You see the news like 8 hours late. So
that is brilliant. Bob is confirmed out, guys. The Norwegian national team manager, the club for Fabrizio Romano. It's funny, you see one leak, and I did say, didn't I? By the end of the stream, we'll have confirmed news. And literally within half an hour of all those rumors, you get confirmed stuff. Really interesting, guys. We've been rating teams, guys. I don't want to keep you longer than the hour I promised. I'm already 4 minutes over. Neil, just remind us where you're off to tomorrow. You're playing in a tournament, so you'll be you'll still be keeping eyes on FPL, but a bit distracted.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The Wi-Fi will be on the plane for sure to keep up with the updates and everything. And I'm sure I'll have a couple of tweaks to my team, especially with the Bobb news because he was in my team. So I'm going to try and sort of catch 4 or 5 sort of like deadline streams at once to see if there's any juicy sort of like last minute news. Like, remember last year how salty you were when you had Gabriel instead of Saliba?
I didn't get the news.
Yeah, you didn't get the news like a lot of people. So I don't want to miss anything like that, right? So.
That swing was massive as well, the Gabriel Saliba one last year. If you're on the wrong end of that, it was like, oh, can I have my 30 points like everyone else did after a few weeks? Like, started on a minus. Chai, what are your plans for the next couple of days? I mean, you've got a deadline stream coming up as well. No doubt you'll be deadline streaming on Friday, right?
Absolutely. Flying up to London for a Fancy Football Fest, seeing all you there. If anyone's in chat that's going to be there, be sure to come up to us. Be delighted to see you. But yeah, absolutely buzzing for the season to start. And Neil, best of luck at your tournament.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
We have Nigel, who will be at Fest, who gifted the memberships earlier. Nigel, I need to get your number. So will you DM me on social or so I can get your number and add you to the WhatsApp? And Offcore has put the Fest link in the chat. I will be presenting at Fest, which I'm buzzing about, but it might mean I missed occasional team news because we do a countdown on stage, but we're going to make sure we bed in team news to that 10-minute section this year. Guys, thank you so much for joining. On your way out, do like and subscribe. Follow Neil on Twitter. Follow Chai on social as well. And make sure you're checking out Chai's YouTube channel and his deadline stream on Friday. And do subscribe to this channel. If you've enjoyed the show, hit the like button. And for now, we'll see you very soon. These two will be back, I've got no doubt, throughout the season, speaking on this channel as well. Guys, thank you so much. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.